Good morning, all. Yes, people are there. I see some four people are there. More are expected to join today because it is a uh, New Year's. Happy New Year to all. Let's hope this year is going to bring us a lot of happiness as well as the job opportunities as well. Thanks for joining this meeting. Last week I was talking about something on about the new chapters and all. I was talking to that. So this time I'm talking on this DevSecOps. What is DevOps and what is DevSecOps? NetOps means network operations are called as NetOps. Development and operations it is called as a DevOps. Development, security, and operations that is called as a DevSecOps. It's a new technology or like a new terminology which has come up in the IT field. So we are going to learn something about the DevSecOps. I'm not going to show you anything on this one because I don't have anything to show you because there is no demos as such in this particular topics. But we've been already working on with the, you know, OpenShift or Ansible. Ansible is also coming under the DevSecOps. That is coming from the Red Hat side. So many other software has also been there for DevSecOps. So what is the need for this DevSecOps has to come? Why, how we are going to fit this into that normal DevOps operations? And what are the new things we need to learn about the DevSecOps? And how does it improve our job opportunities in the market? Because the market has been currently up and running now. I see that a lot of opportunities are coming for everyone. All the domains of the job has been come up nowadays because after the corona effect and all. Anyway, the medicine also has come. The vaccine has been started, so we don't need to worry about that. Now the business is back on, you know, with a bang, like I can just say. We are all into the hoping that this new year is going to bring a lot of opportunities for us. So whenever the business come back online and we are into that very much of into this the working or something like that, when we just start doing all these things, and also we need to learn something new on the development platform. This is coming into the development only. This is not nothing to do anything with that people who are doing the operations or kind of programming, or the people who are doing only the support side or something like that. So people are involved in from any other activities. Like I can just say from starting from the programming side, the people who develop and they will send it for some kind of a testing or something. When it is getting tested and verified, everything is okay. Then when it is goes through the SDLC cycle, software development cycle, something is there. Through that one is it once it has been ready made ready, then they will be putting it in the production like that. It goes on like this is quite normal development cycle which we can see it in any company. So I've been in Cisco also, so I've seen this because whenever there is a new feature is getting added to the Cisco iOS, so this particular cycle means like this kind of the show stoppers will be there always. Like whenever there is a new feature is getting introduced to the iOS, which has been already running on certain platforms, they will develop it first. They will have a plan for that. They will develop it and they will put on that test bed activities and all. Once it has been coming up running properly, it is not breaking the anything whichever it has been running already on that. That is more important. Even if the new feature is working or not, it doesn't make any sense. But when it is coming up as like a new, it should not break anything on the back end. So it should go along with that. It should be giving the proper output for that. So when that is been getting ready, then they will introduce it to the mainstream and they will release it. This is how the development and release and continuous building, continuous integrations, continuous developments. The CI/CD has come up after the DevOps has come up. Continuous improvement and continuous integrations and continuous development. Something there is one more regression. I can just say regression in the sense like the past and other things which we go and see that. And one more development cycle has come up like that. Security can also be included into the DevOps. DevOps means development and operations. Security options in the sense what normally we do whenever there is a network has been built and running, and the near about 10,000 customers are there in the network. In the sense we will be configuring some firewalls. Definitely. Firewalls will configure, or we will use the routers to write some access control lists and port blockings, and writing certain rich rules on the Linux platforms, like that, which we do normally. Everything is same. Like we will be creating some kind of a zones, and according to the zones, we will be putting that people onto that, and they will be accessing only those resources. So this is actually going one step behind that. It just means like when it is getting ready and it has been given on the production, like that security was like a security is like a one of the domain which was sitting, as a separate from the network. Separate in the sense it should be configured properly, and it has to be tuned up properly so that the network will be properly protected on that. And even when you try to integrate the new security features to the code which is already been running on them, that goes like a different cycle for that. So now what they made it like, they made that while doing the production, while doing the development itself about the new code, security points also been taken care. Means like security patches, security operations, security needs, like security, everything is related to the security has been added to the development cycle itself. So you don't need to develop it, like differently or separately. Then you add it to the latest code or something. That's not that. So what we are going to do, we are going to make up that whatever the standards which has been coming up, and whatever the new things which we are going to discuss about that. All these things about the security has been included into the development cycle itself. So that is called as a DevSecOps. Dev is a development, Sec is a security, and everyone knows that. OPS is nothing but an operations. Earlier, development people will be programmers will be sitting, separate. They're actually very rarely they will be coming back to the the support people, and they will be giving some help and all something like that, because they will go through every other cycle of the development. Once the development has been completely complete and they tested everything successfully, and they will be giving it to the testing engineers. Testing engineers will be doing the regression, every other testing they will be doing that. All the testing once coming up, then it has been included to the mainstream and it has been sent out. So after the sent out, if there is any problem comes up, like we will go ahead and talk to the development people that whenever it is required only. Mostly like they are not involved in our daily day-to-day operations or something. But what now changed, like DevOps has come up, like development and operations has been come up as a new. That is a new chapter which has been going for last 5 6 years now. The person who is doing the development itself will be doing some certain operations on this. Means either the programmer will learn the operation side also, or the operation guys will be, operation means support people, system administrators. These people will be learning a little bit of development. Means they are not going to do entire coding or something, but whenever it is been required to write any code on the spot, whenever there is a requirement has come up, like when we try to modify certain code and sometimes due to the customer's requirement or something, so the operation guys will be in a position to go ahead and make some changes on the code level itself. That is nothing but the DevOps. So that DevOps has got so much of tools and softwares which are very much involved. I'm not getting into that very much into that because that is a whole entire new domain itself. Maybe in a month or something other, I may be able to take that DevOps on this. Here we are going to talk about that how the DevOps can be integrated with the security bullets also. Means the security things also getting integrated along with the DevOps cycle itself. Whenever there is a development is happening about the new software or about the new program which has been written or about the new product is going to get rolled out, at that time of development cycle itself, the security patches will be done on that. Security standards will be beefed up. Security requirements will be fulfilled in the code itself. Then it will be given for the operations as well. So this is coming like a three persons working as in one person. Like development also do, security guy will also involve, operations guys also been involved. So there are three different roles and responsibilities as given to the one person. That person is going to be DevSecOps guy. So the day by day, when you talk about that IT, the development, the responsibility is coming as so here to our shoulders. Means I've been working like a normal operations guy. I was used to troubleshoot the problems whenever the people are looking for that, and whenever they are creating a cases or something, we just go ahead and just to troubleshoot that. When troubleshooting is happening, when it is hitting on the code in the if we find out that certain bugs or something like that just need to be get upgraded or something, we'll get back to the development engineers. That development engineers will see the problematic things, and they will analyze the logs, and they will run certain commands which is on the core level, means the box level commands they will be running, platform level commands they will be running, and they will collect some outputs on that. And how does it perform due to certain scenario based, because customer plays in the sense it will be like it is hitting so many problems like it, because multi-vendor environment has been there in the customer place only. In the test bed we will not be able to have every other equipment has been involved on this, because it is not possible. When the product has been sold, then it has been integrated with the multi-vendor environment in the customer side, then the problems may come up, like it will be arising so heavily. So at that time when there is a problem comes up, when there is a ticket has been generated, we've been working on those cases, and at that time we'll be coming into that what sort of a problem is that, how much, what could be the what could be the severity of the problems. Accordingly, it has to be filed a bug or something like that. So with that bug, we will be talking to the development engineers, DEs they call us. Development engineers will come up and they will give us some kind of workarounds or solutions or fixes, or kind of upgradations or patches, something like that. They will be giving us a solution. So we'll go at this is quite a normal procedure in any product-based company, any platform-based company like. So now what they're doing that they are added something like new the security things has been added to the development cycle. So at the time of development itself, the security is also been done. That is what been. Let us see some of the slides on this. So I will, this is a very new chapter, new domain, and the people who are quite new to these developments and operations as well as the security people. And I would like to suggest the people who are already been working in a Linux platform or a product support, or kind of, the people who are working on kind of development and operations, like who are doing some implementation projects, like Ansible implementations are there, Jenkins implementations are there, OpenShift peoples are there, and who are all working in the cloud mostly, and who are all working as a Linux support people. Like I can just say everyone, and normal administrators, normal like system administrators and network administrators. Everyone has to put, like everyone has to know about that. What is the DevSecOps, and what kind of the new knowledge which we need to gather from this DevSecOps. How do we sharpen our skills towards the DevSecOps? Boxes are there, commands are there. Like we will be collecting the logs and we will talk to the development people. That is quite normal procedure which we normally do that. But one thing has been added extra, that is the security has been included into the script in itself. So maybe like we will be getting more problems, or we don't get any problems at all. That depends on the boxes which we are handling it. So I would like to suggest that people has to go for, or to have kind of, the skills need to get upgraded, because the current market trend is looking for a people who should know. If you are a system engineer, if you are a sales, pre-sales support guy, or you are like a support person, like, and everyone requires to know a little bit of scripting nowadays. Scripting in the sense like DevOps skills, tool skills. Like JSON's coding is already been there, YAML coding has been there. In cloud operations, only we normally do that cloud, like cloud formations which we are doing. The Terraform has come up now, which is very much big in the market now. The Terraform is nothing but the coding. Terraform can manage the entire cloud, entire 3-4 clouds also. With the one script, we can manage all the resources which are there in every other cloud. So that is nothing but a scripting again. So in Terraform also we can do the DevSecOps, and in Ansible we can do the DevSecOps. DevSecOps is nothing new, but the security has been added extra to the DevOps. That is nothing but the DevSecOps. Let me go through the slides one by one. This is like more of informational, and it is giving you the knowledge sharing from my side. You can just gather this. And as of there is no currently not a major companies are providing any kind of certification for this DevSecOps, but people are there. In the last 2-3 slides, I will just explain about the new certification has come up in the DevSecOps, but no major partners are giving, like anybody. Cisco is not offering any certification on DevSecOps. AWS or Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud, nobody is looking for this, like, because this is like an extra one of the addition is being added extra. So they are all, They are all looking for people who are having the DevOps, like tools experience or something. But we can make our own skills extra so that we will be able to work with a new domain which is coming up in very much in a demanding mode. So that's why I just make this, like new code. And people who are as a security engineers, like say we are having the network support engineers like me, network designers like me, and system administrators who are working on Windows and Linux, and cloud support engineers who are looking some cloud developments and operations and other people's. So they can have this, like new knowledge which is going to come up like that. How to integrate the security to the development cycle itself. What are the tools, how they are going to perform, the DevOps tools, how they are going to perform in the DevSecOps platform like that. So we will go through the slides one by one, and maybe like around 30 slides something is there which I made that. Yeah, 30 40 or something. Please be, like what I say, please be patient because I'll go through one by one slide, and let us see that. Let us start with that one. Five, yes, DevSecOps. What is DevOps? We'll see that first. Means like very little bit introduction about the DevOps. Let us talk about the DevOps methodology first. Its objective is to unite the activities related to development, quality assurance, development and deployment and integrations. What is DevOps? DevOps is going to do development first, exactly. Quality assurance, that is very important. Deployment, that is the last one. Integrations. This is nothing but the DevOps methodology. And a DevOps can be called a philosophy that aims at building up a culture of collaboration between originally isolated teams. Software development and deployment operations have been traditionally carried out by two different persons or departments. That's what I was earlier saying, the same thing. Right? There will be a set of people who are sitting like a developers. They never talk to the support people, and there are set of people who are sitting like support people. They never talk to the development because people who are supporting they hate the code. People who are developing they hate support like that. Now that has been mixed up, like that is called as the DevOps. Now that's what been explained. And the DevOps aims at improving the efficiency by eliminating the boundaries between these two phases of the software development. For any technical specialist, DevOps is a key factor in optimizing the time and resources for better productivity, understanding, and training. So, what the corporates are thinking that we just need to have some multiple skills. It's not only like what do you say? It's not like a SME. SME means a subject matter expert. They are not looking for any subject matter expert at all. They are looking for a person need to be knowing everything and master of nothing. you know, that is what see. DevOps is a key factor in optimizing the time and the resources. This is more important because they don't want to hire two guys. They can hire one guy to do both the operations in one body. Like that is what that is giving the better productivity, understanding, and training. Everything they will say because they can reduce the money, right? That's why. Okay. Anyway, that is different. That is different one. This is about the methodology. Methodology is nothing but like that person who are doing the supports and the development. They come in as like in one guy. So who can do the development as well as operations also. That is called DevOps. Next, DevOps including continuous integration, where the coding, building, integration, and testing processes are carried out. Okay, continuous delivery. That's what a CI/CD. Continuous delivery, which includes the continuous integration, but mainly focuses on product delivery. Okay, then continuous deployment, which aims at automating the project deliveries. So this is the three major points which we need to discuss about that. One is on DevOps, including like continuous integration, that is nothing but a CI. Then continuous delivery or CD. Deployment, we just normally say CI/CD. We call it as like CI/CD always. And this DevOps is sitting in this place. Development, IT operation, application delivery. This is having the share on every other circle. Just see, let me clear this. DevOps is having on development, IT operations, and application delivery. There here that all the tools which are sitting down here, we will be seeing in the coming slides. What all the tools are there in DevOps like that. So this is DevOps is including the continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous deployment, which includes the coding, building, integration, and the product delivery, then the automating the project deliveries. Like that it goes on. Next, what is a DevOps engineer? Who is a DevOps engineer first of all? The DevOps engineer is the person who helps an organization adopt DevOps methodology. This is how it goes. Like plan. Okay, it starts with the planning. First we start with the planning. Not coming. Okay. First it start with the planning, then code, then build, then test. It goes, then it is getting released. Once it is a version is being released like a 1.0, that is getting deployed in the customer place. Then operating, definitely. Then monitor, deployment, operating, monitoring. This all done by the support people normally. We do that. As me, I am telling about myself. This is handled by the coder or the person who is doing the programming. This is done by the support people like us. So now this has been included in here. So this is an endless cycle which goes like, so it starts from here, goes here, then comes back, then goes here, comes back, goes here, comes back. What is this symbol? It is nothing but infinity. So this infinity is nothing but these operations are going to keep on continuing. Planning, coding, building, testing, releasing. Deploy, operate, monitor, then again planning. After that, when we are doing these operations, we will come across certain issues. Something need to be fixed, something need to be patched, something need to be upgraded, something need to be updated, everything like that. When it goes on all these things, we will get back to the programmers. They will be doing it for us for certain time only. After that, we have to do on our own. Okay, so that's how it has been going on. So this is the DevSecOps. It's like DevOps. We are talking about normally DevOps. We will see the DevSecOps later. So this is how it is going. Who is a DevOps engineer? DevOps engineer is a person who helps an organization to adopt the methodology. We've seen the methodology. That is nothing but CI/CD, delivery, integrations, deployment. Everything will be doing on this. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And areas for a DevOps engineer must be competent. What all the skills is required for to become a DevOps engineer? That is what we did. Version control systems. Any DevOps engineer should know Git, SVN, and Mercurial. Git everyone knows nowadays because everyone is working on a GitHub and other things and all. Right? SVN is nothing but the version number, something it goes on. Mercurial is another software, like that it goes. Continuous integration. You need to be knowing about all continuous integrations. As for this one, you can look for a Jenkins, TeamCity, Travis. This is continuous integration. I can even just say that Ansible also coming under this one. Then the containers, he should be knowing about the containers. The person who would like to become a DevOps engineer means he should know the Docker or Vagrant. Nowadays, there is a Podman has come in Linux environment. That is also another Docker, like it's another container like that. So Podman has come up, like though we need to know about that. This is quite normal things they are talking. And the framework operation automation tools. What counts here is a good knowledge of Python, Shell, or Bash. Besides providing the obvious benefits of automation, it also helps DevOps engineers to save a lot of time. Coding is necessary. Otherwise, how will you become a development engineer? Because the coding is also like what they're looking for, like the Python you should require, shell scripting you should require, bash scripting is required, everything is required. Then only you will be able to develop the code. This is what the framework automation tools. We are talking about a lot of automation. Automation comes from DevOps only. Cloud services. This is one of the most, sorry, this is one of the most essential skills as a DevOps engineer must possess. Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, Amazon Web Services. These are all the major clouds they're talking about that. We are working on a DigitalOcean also, DO. And we're working on CenturyLink Cloud is also there, CC. Like many other clouds has been come up, like people doesn't know that. Then we are working on OpenShift also. OpenShift has been there. So everything we've been doing that. So cloud services, we should be knowing about that. The person has to be a DevOps engineer in the sense he need to know all this. Next, testing. Testing is one of the duties of DevOps engineer to speed up the delivery of software to the clients. Since most companies care about the quality of their software, testing has become an essential part of a DevOps engineer's job? Definitely. When you just keep on developing, someone need to sit and test it. The testing will also done by the DevOps engineer. So what are the areas the person should be competent DevOps engineer? Version control systems, subversion numbers called as like, and continuous integration, containers you should be knowing, framework of automation tools you should know, cloud services definitely it is required nowadays, very much current in the market. Testing he should be knowing. These all skills when he's having it, then he can become a development engineer, means like DevOps engineer. Now let us come back to our main chapter. What is a DevSecOps? DevSecOps is the philosophy of integrating security practices within the DevOps process. Within the DevOps process, that is what the main important. Within the DevOps process, it's a philosophy of integrating security practices within the DevOps process. DevOps process means without a process, we will not be able to create anything. We will not be able to support anyone. Processing is required. Process in the sense, process includes our severity, we normally say severity 1, 2, 3, 4, and who has to escalate to who is reporting to who, and what level of things need to be within how many hours we just need to finish that. Those are all processes. Like that, DevOps also has got a process. DevOps in the sense like within how many, what all the regression techniques we just need to go through, what all the patches need to be installed on this, and how long will it take us, who has to given it for the testing, and when it is coming out for the testing or something, how does it going back to the development people, like how the which are all the which are all the fixes need to come up, or which are all the workarounds can be performed at the time of installations, like this. This is also coming under the DevOps processes. So DevSecOps involves creating security as a code, SAC, security as a code. We see in infrastructure as a code. Infrastructure as a code is nothing but our Terraform. Infrastructure as a service, we are getting it from the cloud services, database as a service, software as a service, like that. Here, the code is going to include the security. That's why security as a code. We are going to include all the security operations, all the security standards within the code while it is getting developed. That is called as DevOps, DevSecOps. Flexible collaboration between the release engineers and the testing team, security teams, like flexible cooperation. There should be a cooperation between this, collaboration between these guys. Like, so then only it can be coming up like a DevSecOps. We will be including the security engineers when we are developing it. Very simple. That is called DevSecOps. DevSecOps movement, like DevOps itself, is focused on creating new solutions for complex software development processes within Agile framework. People who are working on DevOps and all knowing about Agile, the Agile is a framework. So the same format they will be following it up here also. DevSecOps is a natural and necessary response to bottleneck the effect of older security models on the modern continuous delivery pipeline. So this is a bottleneck. Bottleneck is nothing but all the security models which we are, whichever we are doing, that CIA Tripod is having that, right? And many other security standards which we will be following that. Those are all being implemented after the development has been completely complete. Now what we are going to do, we are going to remove all the older security models, and with the new DevSecOps model, we will be, like integrating all the security patches on the security procedures, security processes on the development cycle itself. So the goal is to bridge the traditional gaps between IT and the security while ensuring fast and safe delivery of the code. So that is the meaning of what I say. That is the meaning of DevSecOps. Meaning of DevSecOps is nothing but it is bridging the gaps between the IT and the security, while at the time of integrating the new software along with the security as well. So this is the DevOps versus DevSecOps. What is the differences between this? Okay, what all the extra things has been added to that? What is going to be the benefit of that when we are adding the security at the time of development cycle itself, right? So that we will be seeing in the next coming up slides. Here I would like to show you like some of the, this is like here the DevOps is sitting. This is the three crosses, like we already seen that: development, IT operations, application delivery. So here your development and operation is coming in. Means like DevOps is sitting on this circle, I can say. But here, now what we are going to do, the security is also been added extra. This is same. Development, IT operation, application delivery. It is the same one. Security circle has been added extra. That is called as a security, what is that? DevSecOps. We will see some differences on the next slide. The difference between the DevOps and DevSecOps. DevOps is a methodology aiming at establishing closer collaboration between the programmers and system administrators in the software development process. Getting that? That we already seen. A DevOps engineer is a specialist working on the intersection of these two fields. A DevOps engineer's primary objective is to take the predictability, efficiency, security of the software development to the highest level possible. Okay, very good. Highest level possible. Okay, DevSecOps is the further development. Okay, this is one more step. Out of these three steps, that is one more step need to be done. That is called the DevSecOps. DevSecOps is a further development of the DevOps concept that, besides automation, addresses the issue of code quality and reliability assurance. So that is the major difference, I can just say. Next, getting started with the DevSecOps. A cultural and a technical shift towards a DevSecOps approach helps enterprises address security threats more effectively in real time. So security threats which are coming up, definitely we've been working on, our people are working on security operating centers. They know that what are the threats which are coming up, how to, like block those threats, how to identify those threats, everything we just seen that. But why can't we include that security operations, security patches inside the development itself? That is what in real time we can do that with the DevSecOps. And it is important to view the security teams as a valuable asset that can help prevent slowdowns rather than hindrance to the agility. For example, early detection of poorly designed application that cannot scale in cloud saves valuable time, resources, and computing costs. So this is what cloud we are all going for, to save the money only. Because when you just compare that, when you're buying a software or like hardware and installing it to them and maintaining, will be like a very heavy. After 2 years or something like that, that particular software or the hardware will go like outdated. We just need to update again. When you're updating, the cost will be very heavier. For to avoid all these things only, we are just going for the cloud. So everything will be ready and everything will be the latest version of the hardware and software and everything we are getting it. So at that time, what we can do, we can have with the security teams also as a valuable asset. So this is getting slowed down because of the security patches and everything is getting slowed down. To remove those problems, we just require the DevSecOps. Scalability is a cloud requires embedding security controls on a large scale. Continuous threat modeling and management of the system builds is needed as technology-driven businesses evolve at a rapid pace. Be very faster, they're saying that, because when we try to include the code with the security points itself, in the sense it'll be like more of faster response will be getting that. So the next slide is 6 important components of DevSecOps approach. So this is more of a theoretical, maybe boring, but there is no way. We just need to learn this DevSecOps. So that's why I just take this one. Now, first one is like a DevSecOps approach, 6 important components: code analysis, change management, compliance monitoring, threat investigation, vulnerability assessment, security training. Like that, these 6 components are very important for the DevSecOps. Code analysis, nothing but delivering a code in a small chunks so that vulnerabilities can be identified quickly. That is an analysis. Change management. Increase the speed and efficiency by allowing anyone to submit the changes. That determine whether the change is good or bad. Okay. Then compliance monitoring, be ready for an audit. Security audit is very important at any time, which means being in a constant state of compliance, including gathering evidence of GDPR compliance, PCI compliance, and other things. This all, which are all happening on every other company. So compliance monitoring also can be done on this. It should be important component of it. Threat investigation, identify potential emerging threats with each code update and be able to respond quickly. So when it is getting investigated immediately, so that we can go ahead and respond immediately. Like Vulnerability assessment. Identify new vulnerabilities with the code analysis. Then analyze how quickly they are being responded and patched. Very important. Security training. Train the software and IT engineers with the guidelines of the set routines. This kind of knowledge sharing and everything has to happen in time. Otherwise they will not be having any kind of knowledge about that, what is happening on the company, what is the patches are getting involved on this, how the process, how the DevSecOps is getting processed. Like they will not be getting any idea about it. So this is like a proper knowledge sharing has to be done every month, at least one kind of like kind of seminar like that you just need to conduct so that they will be getting it. So these are all the 6 important components. One is the code analysis, change management, compliance monitoring, threat investigation, vulnerability assessment, security training, like this. So when we are going through these components of this, we will be coming to know that how the DevSecOps can be approached. In practice, an engineer creating a code with a version control platform, the changes are committed to the version control platform. Another engineer retrieves the code from the version control platform and performs an analysis of the code to identify any cybersecurity defects. Very important. Cybersecurity, I was talking the last week. An environment is then created using an infrastructure as a code. That is what IAC, infrastructure as a code tool. The application is deployed and the security configurations are applied to the system. A test automation suite is then executed against the newly deployed applications, including backend, user interface, integrations, security tests, and application programmer interface everywhere. If the application passes the test, it is deployed to the production environment. This new production environment is monitored continuously to identify any active cybersecurity threats or vulnerabilities in the system. This is how the practical implementations are happening. So DevSecOps benefits are simple. The software delivery pipeline which eliminates the mistakes, reducing the cyber attacks and the downtime over the long term. A DevOps and a DevSecOps workflow may be looking at this. DevOps is also following the same thing, but in this DevSecOps, what we are actually including into that in the sense, cybersecurity defects we can identify on this. Okay, next slide. You need DevSecOps. This is a very important question. We already have the DevOps and we have the security people who are sitting with us along that. Whenever we require, we can call them, they can come back to us like, they'll start troubleshooting and they'll finding around. Why do I require DevSecOps? Why should I increase the load on development engineers to include security operations also along with the DevOps cycle? That is what is the question? Question is like, do we require? And yes, we do. That is the answer. The technology landscape has undergone exponential changes over the past decade. Definitely, the shift to shared storage and data, dynamic applications, cloud computing platforms has hugely benefited organizations looking to thrive and grow through the use of advanced applications and services. But it has come at a cost because of the paradigm shift has happened. Means like everything has been completely changed. We've been using that on premises mostly or the third party kind of data center, something like in data center also we used to keep only very important other things and like very minimal 5%, 10% only will keep it. Nowadays everybody is looking for the cloud only. They would like to put everything on cloud. When they put everything on the cloud, and where is the security for that? So that's why we require DevSecOps. This is why DevSecOps was introduced into the software development cycle to bring development, operation, and security all under one roof, exponentially improving the cybersecurity of all of the software in the process. Got it? Cyber criminals are always looking for the ways to exploit the software. Imagine if they were able to inject malware into the software during the build process. Oh, they come into the build process itself. So that the malware was not discovered until the application has been distributed to thousands of customers. So you can just see damage is already done in the code itself. People doesn't test it properly. They released it. Customer has started complaining about that. Tens of thousands of customers are complaining. They are affected because of it. So when you integrate the DevSecOps and DevOps, every network admin and engineer puts security first when developing and deploying the software. That is a plus points. They talking about like, do we require DevSecOps? Yeah, definitely we require DevSecOps. Best practices. Admin automation is a good for everyone. DevSecOps is for efficiency. Threat modeling is so good. So we are going to see that all. Organizations that want to unite IT operation security teams and application developers need to integrate security into their DevOps workflows. Some best practices that make DevSecOps process run smoothly. Automation is good. Despite DevOps being focused on a speed of delivery, that doesn't mean that speed should not be compromised just because you are adding security to the mix. By integrating automated security controls and tests early in the software development cycle, you can ensure the fast delivery of the software. Next point is DevSecOps for efficiency. By adding the security to your workflow and by using the tools that can scan code as you write it, you can find and fix security issues earlier. Instead of they are threatening and they're coming up, they're hitting and they attack it, then you go and find out in the then better, we will include it in the development cycle itself. Threat modeling. Threat modeling exercises can help you discover the vulnerabilities of your assets and plug any gaps in security controls, helping you to identify the riskiest events occurring in your code database. Okay, this is like best practices we've seen. And what are the three pillars of DevSecOps? Test automation, tooling and beyond, threat modeling, shift in perspective, skill enhancement. These are all the three pillars which we need to talk about that in DevSecOps. One second. Okay, so these are all the three pillars which we are going to talk on this now. Test automation, tooling and beyond. Automation is not new to the application teams. Quality assurance has long adopted automation as part of the test iterations. Automation scripts, right from unit testing all the way to complex regressions, have been around for a long time. Ironically, the known concept is until recently boxed to functional and performance tests. With the DevSecOps advocating shift left approach to the software security, that is a product engineering, the teams have started to scout for feasible opportunities to tie in application security through automation. Same thing, they are talking about that. Comparative analysis of mature DevOps practitioners and their investment in automated security show 15% increase between the last year and this year. So now it is getting increased on this one. So test automations. Now, second one is the threat modeling. Shift in perspective. Threat modeling is should be one of the first activities that the product teams can come together to incorporate application security as soon as requirements has been made available. This activity happens during the design phase, conjunction with design or architecture review. Being the team activity, this would help in collectively visualizing the various threats and application stands to face if and when released to a market, and also how they can be mitigated, transferred, ignored, or accepted, depending on the business priorities. Ideally, with every sprint, product teams should come together to review these features, user stories, and come up with evil abuser stories that can be considered as a non-functional requirement with a clearly stated acceptance criteria. This is coming under the dev, sorry, threat modeling. The last one is a skill enhancement. It's nothing but a training and knowledge sharing, something like. While growing the demand of DevOps and the need to create the scalable, secure, and reliable software, product teams have challenges in recruiting the right people with the right skills. This you will never get it. No HR is getting any right people with the right skills. We are all deployed because that we just know something. Then we will develop our own. Like there is called as a skill enhancement. The challenge is twofold. The first problem is finding employees with the balanced communication, with the technical acumen and solid interpersonal skills needed to support fast-paced, collaborative, continuous delivery environment. That is nothing but a CD, continuous delivery. The second is even more daunting. Finding employees of that mold who also have the grounding in security principles and tooling is necessary to deliver both continuously and securely means the person need to be a sec guy definitely, and he should be a developer, and he should be a developer also. We will not be able to get anyone like this. Okay, we just need to take a developer and he has to give him some security trainings, or the person who is security good is like around 8, 9 years experience on security products and all, is supporting all the customers and all. Pick him up and we'll start, making him to upgrading his skills towards the development side. That is the only way is possible, because we cannot have the multiple, like what is that, master of all. Nothing is possible. So security engineers learning to understand the code, to be able to work with the developers, identify the vulnerabilities, and also offer remediation instead of just poking holes into the products. So the more concern about that, people are having that kind of mentality that they do not want to go to development. Even me, even if you ask me like, can you do the full-time development, means I will say no, no, it's not my cup of tea. I do not want to do that. And if the development people, if you ask them, just go and sit with the customer and talk to them, means they'll hate. Definitely they will hate it, because they can't they can't manage the customers, because we've been molded to manage the customers. They've been molded to to create new software, something like that. But there is a need, there is a market condition has come up in these times, that the person need to have customer support experience also. Patches includes and other things and all. Upgradation activities has to be conducted, as well as the same time you just need to fix the code also. That is what, that is a proper marriage has to happen between the developer plus security, security support engineer level. So if you are ready for this, then you will be able to stick in the current market trend, else you will be thrown out. Next, traceability, auditability, and visibility. Implementing traceability, auditability, and visibility in DevSecOps process leads to deeper insight and more secure environment. This is like coming in like normal, what do you say, like a framework which we can talk about. Traceability allows the track configuration items across the development cycle to where the requirements are implemented in the code. This can play a crucial part in your organization control framework, as it helps achieve compliance, reduce bugs very much, ensure the secure code and application development, and help code maintainability. Auditability is important for ensuring compliance with the security controls. Technical, procedural, administrative security controls need to be auditable, well documented, adhered to by all team members. They will never get it, because everyone will be putting in their own way of updating the cases and all. That is the problem. And then visibility is a good management practice in general, but very important for a DevSecOps environment. Visibility. This means organization has a solid monitoring system in place to measure the heartbeat of the operation, sound alerts, send alerts, increase awareness of changes and cyber attacks as they occur, and provide accountability during the whole project lifecycle. Nobody takes the responsibility. That is the problem with the team. Like, everyone would like to pass the buck to the other guy. That is how it is been going on. That's why the shift has been followed, because one shift is working on which they'll just push it to the second shift and they'll run up. That is not possible here, because the person who has been a developer and he's a supporter and he's going to fix the code and he's going to talk to the customer, like that, everything has been one. Like a Superman, you just need to work on. Okay. Next one. DevSecOps tools. Okay, this is very important one. Like, what all the tools are there already in the market? We are going to discuss that one by one. These tools are been in the market for last 2-3 years, I guess. What are the things which I know, I personally know, which I am personally working on, that I can just say. Ansible, I am working on very much into the DevSecOps tools as well. I can say OpenShift and some of the projects which are happening on OpenShift, which I know very well. But rest of the things are very new to me, and the people who know, who are all attending this demo, this kind of session, we can talk about this. But these are all very much of a coder involved things. This I am doing it on my development and other things, like deployment models. We've been using the Ansible. Ansible, I have the Ansible things which I used to conduct some Ansible courses also. Like Ansible can be done for network automations, and it can be done for server automation also, which I can conduct it, because we've been doing all these things now. So now, what are the tools are there? Codesi, SonarQube, Akunetics, Logs.io, GitLab, Contrast Security, Aqua, Xavier Labs, White Source. These are all the ones which I got it from very famous things on from some certain what is it, like auditing networking sites and all like that, which I got it, because this is coming under the security. So I been into that. What are the reliable sources from where I got this kind of tools and other things? You can also search it out in the Google that they will be giving it. Like every other company has got its own way of implementing the DevSecOps tools for that. It depends on the product manager or like a project manager who will be choosing these kind of tools need to be implemented in our own company. Like that it goes on, but we will be just going through this all like one by one slide. What all they can do and what is the advantage of having that? How many kind of languages it is supporting that? Like because develop this is the tools only. This is not going to develop anything like whatever the development C, Python and other environments which you are creating on this. On that top of this, these tools also can be integrated to that so that the DevSecOps can be done. Means your kind of a product which is when it is coming out ready, that is coming into the security, whatever it is required, the DevSecOps is required like that. It will come like a full product level. So we will just see one by one. So this is like their own symbols of their white source, Odyssey, Kubernetes, Contrast, Ansible we know already, OpenShift that is given by the Red Hat. Ansible also been coming from the Red Hat only, but Ansible is free one. Red Hat is supporting that. If you like to have an enterprise support on Ansible, you can go for a Red Hat support. Else, if you are good at Ansible, you can do your own coding and all. You don't need to get any kind of corporate help or something like that. It depends on the company again. GitLab is logs.io, Aqua, everything is there. See, let us see one by one. Codesi. Code offers developer teams quality automation and standardization solutions so that they can shift as far left as possible, identify new issues early in the deployment process. This everyone talks about. This their security code analysis tool helps developers to automatically identify and address the security issues, duplication, complexity, style variations, style violations, drops in coverage, which can commit and pull requests directly from the Git or workflow. Codec covers 20 programming languages. See that. How many programming languages are covering up by the Codec? Means when you write a code on certain language, if that language has been supported with the Codec in the sense, it will go and find out all these problems. What are the problems? Security issues, duplication, complexity, style violations, like that. And integrates easily into the developer's workflow, providing them with the visibility of over their code quality so that they can track their project quality over the time to easily address any technical debt they might be having. This is one of the code tool I'm telling. Next one is a SonarQube. It's an open source project developed by the Sonar Source. Also focuses on helping developers through the automation. SonarQube is an automatic code review tool to detect bugs, vulnerabilities, and code smells in your code. It integrates with the development team's native workflows to provide them continuous code inspection across all of their project branches and pull requests. SonarQube supports nearly 30 programming languages. We see in the earlier one 20 programming languages. This is supporting 30 and offers continuous code inspection so that small development teams and enterprises alike can spot bugs and fix vulnerabilities that compromise their apps to keep undefined behavior from impacting end users. This is one of the code, like one of the tools. Acunetics. Acunetics is offers an all-in-one website security scanner to help the developers find vulnerabilities at the earliest stage. Acunetics sets help compromise companies with a major web presence that are protect their web assets that are high risk from the hackers by providing specialized technologies that can help developers to detect more issues and fix them quickly. This solution is easy to use, enables centralization, automation, and integration. Acunetics is a strong solution, one of the best established solutions on the market because it focuses on web security, boasts high-speed scanning, minimal false positives, ease of use, unique technology, and SDLC integration. SDLC integration everyone does. Next one is logs.io. It's another company built by engineers for engineers that offers scalable cloud observability powered by Elk and Grafana so that developers can easily monitor, troubleshoot, secure production. Among the many helpful features like log management and log analysis solution provides or security analytics to help the organization of any size address threats and stay compliant. Logs.io security analysis analytics allows the developers to integrate security into the DevOps pipelines with the tools and data used for operations so that they can identify more without sacrificing speed or agility with advanced threat detection and correlations. In addition, it provides built-in reports, rules, and integrations to help organizations stay compliant. Everyone is staying compliant. GitLab, web-based DevOps platform that offers a complete CI/CD tool, chain out of the box in a single application. It supports collaboration between development, security, and ops teams, help them speed up delivery, address security vulnerabilities without slowing down the CI/CD pipeline by simplifying tool chain complexity. Besides being named as a CI leader, continuous integration leader, GitLab offers full package to help organizations to shortening their DevOps cycle time by bridging silos and stages and supporting a unified workflow that reduces streamlines activities that used to be separate, like application security and CI. It's one of the two. Contrast security. This group offers runtime application self-protection, RASP, interactive application security testing, ISAT, IAST, like something they are providing it. First part of the contrast security suite named as contrast assess alerts developers when a vulnerability is discovered. Second part, contrast protect, uses same embedded agent and works in a production environment looking for exploits and unknown threats, reporting what it finds a CMO console, next generation firewall, or any other security tools in the organization already in a place. Contrast Security also recently improved their already impressive offering and introduced contract word plus organization. Similarly, it does done. So this is also another. Another one is an Aqua. Aqua Security helps save the day, providing container security throughout the DevOps pipelines. Aqua's cloud-native security platform provides users with the full control over containerized environments with a tight runtime security controls and intrusion prevention capabilities at scale. One second. So this is going to help us, the security guys, like more like Aqua. And the platform supplies users with an API for easy integration and automation. The Aqua Container Security Platform provides SDLC controls, securing containerized applications that run on premises on-premise and the cloud, as well as Windows and Linux. It can support both the platform. And platform supports variety orchestration environments, Zabbia Labs. This is also another thing. It's having the application release orchestration solution that covers everything from release orchestration, deployment automation, DevOps intelligence. It can work on a cloud, middleware, mainframes, containers, and everything. Integrate seamlessly DevOps pipeline and use of all organization DevOps tools, the entire thing. Like it can do the deployment process after delivery, including CI, security database analytics, environment provisioning, issue tracking, and reporting. It can do. White source is the last one, I guess. Another type of risk that many DevOps tools don't focus is the open source vulnerabilities. Considering today's a typical application will include 60 to 80% of the open source code. It is very important that organizations don't neglect open source security management and deploy a dedicated solution that will track and alert users about open source risks throughout the DevSecOps pipeline. White source integrates DevOps pipeline. It's compatible with over 200 programming languages. See, we've seen only 20, 30 in earlier sites. Now it is supporting 200, as well as wide variety of build tools and development environments. It runs automatically and continuously in the background, tracking the security, licensing, and quality of open source components and matching them against white source comprehensive database of open source repositories to provide real-time alerts as well as prioritization and remediation. So this is one other tool. Then we are talking about that which I handle it normally, Ansible and OpenShift something. Ansible is a simple agentless IT automation technology that can improve your current processes, migrate applications for better optimization, and provide a single language for DevOps practices across your organization. Yeah, this is organization. Yeah, this is quite good. Yeah, because we are into the process of implementing this Ansible for all the DevOps platforms. And means like we've been working with the DevOps engineers also. I used to write some codes for the network automations as well. Now there is a recently we are coming for a Linux server as well as Windows server management on this one. Storage applications are already running on Ansible. And Red Hat OpenShift. This OpenShift delivers built-in security for container-based applications, including role-based access controls. Security enhanced Linux. SC Linux is there always. Person who are working on Linux, he knows that. Enable isolation and checks throughout the container build process. So these two are being offered by Red Hat. If you look for a Ansible support or like that enterprise support or something, Ansible will be given for you. Like you can go for this. This is like if you like an enterprise support. Enterprise support you require in the sense you can go for an Ansible with enterprise support. Otherwise, you can just leave it. You can implement it with like an open source itself. It's very easy to work with an open source. But many other companies are nowadays going for like getting the support from the Red Hat because when they're running into the problems, they can call Red Hat at any time and they can get a support on this. Like so, this is one of the Red Hat OpenShift as well as the Red Hat Ansible on this. The next one, we will see something about what DevOps tools are right for you. Which DevSecOps tools? Like adopting a DevSecOps approach throughout an organization is no simple feat. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, and organizational changes don't happen overnight. This everyone knows that. you know, when you try to change your team itself, it takes 6 months to 1 year. So that is what. So choosing the right automated DevSecOps tool is a great way to start. Think about your organization systems and networks, processes and teams, and start out with the tools that will help you most and easy fit. Because first of all, when you try to introduce a new OS or new patches or new kind of a software you are going to integrate it in the sense that people need to be ready for to take it. They should be ready to adopt it. That is more important. That's what choosing like. Using the right automated tools to help your secure your product throughout the SDLC allows your development teams to power through meet release schedules with high value deliverables without need for security to send them back to the drawing board as they near finish line. So whenever you are going to finalizing it in the sense, you just need to see our requirement first. What is your requirement? Do I require to support the DevSecOps tools need to support 300 languages? No, it's not required for me. I may require maybe like our projects may be like comprising only 3 or 4 kind of languages. I can go for like the level of the support which is required for the DevSecOps tool like that. I can just choose it. And moreover, whenever you are taking the huge, large kind of a tool or something like that, which may require some multiple modules on that, and we need to train the people for that also. It may take a lot of time again. So actually, we are taking the DevSecOps tools to reduce the time and implementation things. So again, when you are taking a very complex tool in the sense you need to be training the people to understand this all this and so that will take again more processing time. So it depends on the company how they are going to develop it, how they are going to decide it accordingly. Will be going for that. And certification. That's what I was telling you. Like there is no uh, industry standard certification has been given. No AWS certification is there. No Google Cloud or Microsoft is not giving, or even Red Hat is not giving that. Red Hat Ansible certification something is there, and Red Hat OpenShift something is maybe there. There you can go for it. But those are all whether they are coming under the DevSecOps that is more important because Ansible we've been using it for a deployment mostly, right? Because it is development. The code has been already developed. We just go and acting some kind of a patches or something like that, which has been already running on that. We've been managing that. But when it is coming into the core development cycle itself, then we may have to look for the other codes which we other tools which we discussed earlier. Like so, there are some certifications available in the market. How good are they? How much they are going to have the value in the market? It makes sense, which I don't know. Really, I don't have any idea about it. But still, I just searched it in the internet that I come through this kind of certifications are available on this one. Certified DevOps DevSecOps Architect CDE. That is one of the first certification, and a certified professional DevSecOps engineer. Kavaros, this is one of the another company. DevSecOps for the practitioners, something like that. It is being given. There are 4 certifications of that. It depends on the level and the people who are looking for that, and they would like to really get certified on this DevSecOps or something. They can go for it. Else, you can just like integrate it with the other things itself, whichever the certifications are available on. So certified DevSecOps Architect CDA. This is a they given some kind of a prerequisites on this. Course participant should have certified DevSecOps professional CDP and the participant should be having the basic knowledge on AWS, GCP, and Azure, and all these things. Overview, DevSecOps on AWS, attacking auditing, introduction to AWS, IAM is very much required, security compliance, secure computing services, data security, network security, infrastructure as a code, patch management, compliance in AWS. These are all things which we need to learn on this. So how much is good for you? Like we are going to decide that. So this is like what I say. This is just a introduction on the DevSecOps. It's a new chapter which I would like to talk on that. So I guess we. So this is like they something they put some kind of graphical like CDP professional level. You can go to the CDP and CDL. CDL means a certified DevSecOps leader. CDP is a certified DevSecOps professional. Then once you become on this, then you can go back to the then come to the expert level. Certified DevSecOps expert and certified DevSecOps architect. Something you can go on. These are all very much like whether they are going to be in a demand or something, but definitely I would like to say that DevOps people need to understand this DevSecOps also, either you go for a certification or not, but as a knowledge purpose, as for a working in your projects, it's like you require certain these tools need to be, you should be knowing about these tools also. So we come to the end of this demo. Okay. And I see some people who are still there. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. If you have any kind of any questions or something like that, whether I can go for it or I should do this or something like that. If you have something in your mind, you can ask me. I'll be able to answer your questions.
Hey Ramnath, very informative session, Vishal here. So one question here. So basically, these when we consider as a DevSecOps engineer, uh, are they from development background or how is it?
Of course, they should be from the development backgrounds because you should be the coder
Okay.
to do this DevSecOps.
Uh-huh.
Because what now we are doing it as actually I am from the support industry. I do most of designs of the network complex network designs which I do. Because when it is coming into the designs in the sense
Okay.
I need to include every other domains. Means if it is a database project is coming in the sense, I need to work on network also, database also, security also. Because security need to be patched up. So I need to work on some certain firewall people also like that. I just need to work on like that. This comes as a DevSecOps in the sense it is coming like a development cycle. Development, whoever the people are doing the core development people need to upgrade their skills into the DevSecOps. DevSecOps, the people what when I seen the Red Hat site, what they saying is Ansible and OpenShift is also coming under the DevSecOps. That's why I included this two slides into this DevSecOps. But actually speaking, that Ansible for frankly, I'm talking about the Ansible. I'm using it for only for deployment projects, like deployment of large scale configurations to the routers and switches and firewalls and the load balances. Like now we started something on a phase by phase. We are upgrading the servers also through the Ansibles, and with that also now they are saying that we can integrate the security towards the Ansible also. They are saying that need to be worked out. I just need to work out on this. So like DevOps is nothing but the person who's going to be the complete programmer, who is going to do the development and operations and all these things. But currently, what is the market trend is that the person need to know the coding also. Like I come from the support side, I also started learning some of the DevOps tools now. DevOps tools in the sense integration tools or deployment tools we are learning. Jenkins a little bit of I know, and Ansible we are extensively working on this. And other Chef and Puppet which has been already been there, but it is not coming in. Like we are not implementing it so heavily on this, like an orchestration software which we are using it. So whether you like it or not, we've been into the DevOps already. We've been started doing all this DevOps on this. Better the person who is interested to do the DevOps, he should include in his own subjects. The DevOps also has to be, he has to learn that. That's what I'm, because the market trend is coming up like only DevOps guys is not been, integrated to the new teams or something. They require, like included to the team or something. They look for people who knows DevSecOps also. Now there is say, whenever there is a requirement comes up, they will always look for something, the person who knows a lot like that. So when your question stops like that, I am a support guy or I am just a deployment person. Should I know the DevSecOps or something? I can say yes, you should know that, but until certain extent, you should know about the DevSecOps also. That is my answer for it.
Okay, yeah. So that was the question, because support person having knowledge of a server's network and network security,
Hmm.
will that be person good enough to support this kind of a CI/CD environment?
Yes, of course, we are doing that. No? In
If
the
he wants.
Ansible is coming like continuous integrations, you know, right? We are continuous deployment which we doing that, continuous delivery which we are doing that. So that is coming out of the CI/CD cycle only. I can just say that because somehow I can just say I am involved in the DevOps process itself. So you will also get involved in later timings. Maybe not now, but you will be getting the chances to get into that. So that time you should not be fell short. Like I don't know this kind of a domain or something like that. I'll be, you will feel insecure. So better you start learning these skills also along with that. That's what I'm doing. Like that's what is the requirement of
Right.
market like? We should be knowing everything. Whenever there is a new project comes up, they would like to push all this, like experienced people to that project. So I never do any kind of coding or something like that. But last 2 3 years we've been start doing a lot of coding because in AWS we used to do like a lot of cloud formation templates which we need to create. I need to create the network using the cloud formations. JSON scripting I learned, like YAML scripting we've been learning because the Ansible requires a complete of YAML scripting as well. So it is the requirement completely, it is changing. Like previously we used to install the routers and switches in hand, connecting cables and all these things which we are doing it. But when we seeing the things which has been changed as now, like the cloud is having a lot of routers, cloud is having the firewalls and load balancers and other things. There, how do you go and connect a cable and all like that? We just need to write the code only to make the things to work. So more and more, whenever the industry has been passing through, the progress has been made. Like that is coming towards the software only nowadays. The hardware involvement is getting now very much lesser and lesser. So better, this is a time that we can move our skills. We can learn new skills to learn to go to the DevOps side or something. But I'm not asking you to go and sit down and develop the new code or something. But if you are knowing about it, because when it is coming into the deployment cycle in the sense, you should be knowing certain kind of a code. If there is any problem in the code, like when it is getting deployed, so you at that time you will not be able to get any help or something like that. Maybe you will be working an off shift, something like that. So that time you just need to go and correct yourself on this. So better you equip yourself with certain skills so that it will not create any much issues when you are doing the deployments or something. That is my suggestion from my side. I can just say, I don't know how you are going to take it up. Okay.
Right. When I relate to this support environment, uh,
Mm.
application security, when we consider application security,
Mm.
we used to deploy WAF, web
Mm.
application firewalls. So
Mm.
what actually, instead of a patching the application,
Mm.
you virtually patch it via WAF.
Mm.
So if we consider DevSecOps, it will be really helpful that application will not be vulnerable from the beginning, like when it is under development process,
Yeah.
that all aspects, security aspect will be taken into consideration, and probably I would say that web application firewall not needed in that case if your applications are secure enough.
No, not that way. Because see, that is kind of like because I've been working in a very heavy environment on the development environment itself. Even after they are putting everything on a security measures on this, when it is getting involved in the multi-vendor environment, we a lot of bugs which are coming up currently. Like the bugs which are coming up. So we require at the time of development also, and we require the development also. It cannot be completely, you cannot rule it out like that. I fixed everything completely so that every security, every security,
Right, layered security definitely will be required. Uh,
it is required. It is required. The after the production, it has been installed on the customer side, we can reduce the what is it fix whichever it is coming up. The timing also. That is what been saying. eliminating the after sale support or something. That is not at all possible. But we can reduce it like some percentage level. When we are patching the things after implementing like 80% in the sense, if you are involving the DevSecOps in the time of development itself, you can make it as like around 40%. Like that only it can be. So the thing is so pure, like it can be pure because it is tested within your own equipment, in your own test bed or something. It may not produce any issues at all. They will release the software. When it goes to the multi-vendor environment, we will be facing a lot of issues. That time we just need to go ahead and we'll start again patching it. So this patches another thing. That's why it is like an endless cycle. Development, operations, support, and coming back again, patching it up like that. So it can reduce certain amount of patching has to be applied after the product has been released. That way, this DevSecOps can help us in reducing the timing, reducing the work timing, reducing the resources involvement, and reducing the fixes and other things. That's how it can help us. Like I also not having much, like idea about this DevSecOps. This is an initial kind of, I can just say introduction which I given from my side. We are also looking for those tools which are I discussed on this one. Some of the other tools are also there, which product managers are now evaluating all these products. Then we'll be involving all these things also. Like we will integrate those things and we'll see like how it is getting improved, the timings of implementing the solutions. Something I can just say. Any other questions from anyone? Hello. This is like an eye opener. I can just say because DevOps, everyone talking about DevOps like that. So better we can talk about DevSecOps also. Like. So I just took it because this is now currently being discussed in my place. So I thought I can give it like a kind of introduction to the people so that I made it.
Right, Ramnath, a very informative session. At least I have seen some new names of these tools, and I will definitely go through some of that and try to learn more about that.
Okay.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Ramath. Yeah, Ramath, this is Dinesh here. First of all, thanks for your wonderful session.
Okay.
And yeah, I have knowledge only pure on security devices and firewalls. Even I don't have much awareness about in cloud environment. In this case, so my question here is, if I want to focus my knowledge on cloud-based, means which one will be suggestible? Because I have well background, well knowledge on security aspects, appliances like that, Cisco's, FortiGate's, Checkpoint. So all traditional firewalls I have knowledge. So whether this knowledge have to implement on cloud environment, which is most effective one.
So cloud knowledge in the sense, any cloud you can start with that, but it depends on the project which you people are going on. From your company, what project has been done on which kind of a cloud like they're going for it. Any cloud is okay. From my point of view, every cloud is the same.
Okay.
Only the name is different. And okay, AWS you take, Google you take, Azure you take, DigitalOcean you take, anything you take, everything is same. Everyone is offering the same kind of services only. But as like a development engineers, as like a implementer, as like a normal engineer who is supporting the for us, every cloud is the same. There's no difference as such. Yeah.
My question is the same. As we have only a knowledge on giving support engineer, we don't have the much knowledge on developing code and all. So in this case, where I want to focus like that, because we have as of now I decided to have focus on integrating part like that, like Python or I decided myself to focus on Python or Assembly like that. So my question here is, we have very strong on giving support. We don't have that knowledge on developing areas. So in this case, in cloud environment, either in AWS or Azure, where is my profile is much suitable for, in which where I want to focus. My question is
because you are a security body, around 7-8 years experience and like that, you've been working on multiple platforms as well. And when it comes to the cloud security in the sense, Well, I guess you can
Yeah.
unmute your mic, I guess, because it is creating. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
just a minute.
Mute your mic, sorry.
Yeah, sure.
When you're becoming like an around 8 to 9 years experience on the sense, when we try to integrate the new firewall something to the cloud or something, what we do normally, we will do it as like a virtual machine only. Means like an appliance, we will be installing it in the as like a VM only in the in as like a third party integration, which we will be doing it through the marketplace or something on the cloud. Any cloud you take, Google Cloud or Azure Cloud or AWS Cloud or something. So that is also been nowadays like where people are looking for a new skills of like a WAF, that is a web application firewalls we require. It is not only the just a traditional layer 4 firewall or something like that. We just need to go up until the layer 7 firewalls is required. So when you are integrating it, is nothing but a deployment. When you go for a deployment in the sense, we will be talking about a large scale deployments. Large scale deployments, we are doing it through the Ansible. Ansible knowledge, if you like to gather Ansible knowledge, you require to have some YAML coding or JSON coding you require to learn. So you can start working towards the coding side on the Python. You are already doing that. That is nice. And as well as you just start focusing on JSON as well as the YAML coding also, which will help you to do some deployment projects first of all. So you just need to start from there because from the people who are having the support experience, they will not be good in the understanding the code or writing the code or something immediately. It's not possible. Better what we do, we will start implementing certain things on a large scale. That will give us the coding knowledge for us. Later part, we just need to move ahead and we just need to go ahead and start creating the services by using the coding itself. That will be helped by when you are doing the cloud formation, when you are doing the Terraform, or when you are doing the Ansible coding or something. That time you will be getting all the knowledge on this one. So my suggestion is that just start doing some YAML coding or JSON coding, and all these things you can learn. And these codings are actually covered in the AWS side or even in Microsoft Azure has also been covered on this one. We can do the YAML coding and other things. But along with that, we just need to learn many other services as well. Because from the cloud point of view, there are so many other certifications also available. Like AWS has got a solution architect and sysops admin, something like that it is available. So when you are learning all these things along with your network knowledge as well as the firewall knowledge, you need to learn other languages, you need to learn other services as well. Along with that, you just need to learn the coding on JSON and YAML, and Python is very much required for that. So you can go for a network as well as firewall deployment side. That I would like to suggest is because we cannot just directly jumping into the development. It's not possible because our nature is not that. Slowly, you just can get into that DevOps side so that it is easy for us to go for a large scale deployments as well. Because the person who are experienced around 5-6 years in the sense, he'll be going for a large scale deployments only. Nowadays in cloud, we've been deploying around like 5,000, 6,000 servers in a time. So that time we require the persons who are having a good knowledge on the servers, network, firewall, and other things. So that will help you in moving in your career also. Like, so you require to learn Python coding, you require to learn JSON and YAML coding and other things. Cloud formations need to be done. Terraform need to be learned on this. So if you go in this way, it'll be easy for you that you can learn up the things in the next 1 year or something. That is a suggestion I can give it from my side. We cannot change completely to the developer. It is not possible. It is not one night within overnight you cannot do that. It's not possible.
This is a point I am expecting because we already have a good skill on supporting. So equal knowledge I have to use on the knowledge which is gained first. I will make use of in cloud. That's why I am asking for this question.
Right. Okay.
And hope and I have got the point now.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks for the question. Anyone else? Any other questions you have? Okay. I guess we've been doing for last 1 hour. So if you know questions, and you can give me your email address or something. What are the other courses which I'm handling on this? I can pass it on to you, and I can give this recording as well as the slide also to you. You can put it on the chat, Zoom chat itself. You can put your email address. That's more than enough, so that I can forward it to you people. Can you please put the Abhijit is the Dinesh is the Vishal is the. Can you put on your email addresses please on the chatting in the chat box? Hello. Okay, Vijay has given, Vishal has given, Dinesh has given. Okay, then.
So hello,
Yeah.
hello, sir.
Yeah.
Abhijit here. Thanks for the session. Actually, I want to means I am a little bit confused. Actually, I have 4 years of experience means in security domain and networking domain. Okay. So yeah, and I am doing Python. I mean, network automation with Python language means creating VLAN and pushing the bulk request, change bulk request on the multiple routers. Okay. So, yeah, so if I means I want to choose this field means DevSecOps means development in this field. So what should be my path? Means now on what should be my means learning languages and which services should I learn?
No, you are already on the network deployment process, so better be continue on that only. Security will be added extra by your company itself whenever they try to integrate the security patches also along with it. That time you can just start learning on this because you are a very less experienced person, around 3-4 years only you have that. So currently, suddenly if you start some DevOps in the sense, you'll be into the problem. So these are all very important. Like Python you are doing already, and you should be start doing the JSON and YAML scripting later. So at the time that security will also get integrated on this one. So currently, whatever you are doing, that please do that, and that will help you in learning the new skills later, but not so immediately for you. That I can suggest my side.
Okay, so means CES certification should I do or continue with the network automation?
So better be there on your own domain, so that will give you the good opportunities because you can become a subject matter expert on your own area itself. Instead of looking for every other things, like, but better you focus on certain things so that you'll become a subject matter guy on this one. So be on the network. There is a lot of scope and opportunities are there. We've been start doing a lot of multiple bulk deployments which we are doing on this. So that time your skills will definitely count into that. Later part of it, you can go for a DevSecOps tools are there, which your company will be definitely adopting by next 6 months or something. So that time you can learn that also. Don't go for any other certification or something. It's not required. Else you can move yourself toward the cloud. That will be easier. Either AWS you can do, or Azure you can do, or Google Cloud certifications. That you can definitely do. That will help you some added advantage as well as added points to your resume also. Because if the person knows about the cloud deployments also, being given more opportunities on the deployment side. That I can suggest from my side.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Okay, then thank you. Thank you very much. Any more questions from your side? Anybody else who is having it? Okay, then if there is no questions, I can go ahead and finish this meeting. Thanks for joining.
Yep. Thanks, Ramnath.
Thanks
for your time. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Ram.